What's up, Bonanza? This is episode 8, Introduction to Evolution. How's it going? Tonight I join you from my lovely garage full of scary spiders and other creepy crawlies. Also, we'll be getting into our next unit, which is on evolution and natural selection. Tonight I'm going to give you a brief introduction to evolution, and since it's such a hefty topic, I'm going to have to break this down into a larger set of videos. For right now, I'm just going to introduce it to you. So, some of you may be asking yourself, but Mr. Carpenter, evolution's just a theory. Well, here's the thing. Do not confuse theory with the word guess. When you say it in that context, you're really saying evolution's just a guess. No. Evolution's a theory. It's a statement that is based around scientific findings as well as data and evidence. So we need to separate those two terms right from the very beginning. Alright. May I ask you, what does a beetle, a sea jelly, a chimpanzee, and one of the grumpiest cats I've ever seen in my life all have in common? Well, yes, they're all animals, but every single one of them has descended from the very first ancestral organism, meaning life had to have started somewhere. We won't get into how life started, but from that first organism, every other form of organisms around that we see today existed and have come to be because of what we call evolution. Now, our very first example. Let's say you lived in a world where 300 years ago, well, yeah, let's say you lived 300 years ago. You didn't have much to speculate on the world around you. All you really had was things like the Bible. You also had the Torah. You also had the Quran, at least by the major religion standpoints. 300 years ago, man thought the earth was only about 6,000 years old. So based on what we had, such as these holy scriptures, all we really knew was that life kind of has been made here. It was created the way it is, as it was 6,000 years ago by the Creator. Well, I'm not here to tell you your beliefs are wrong. I'm here to present the scientific alternative, which is what most scientists have come to terms with as being fact. In this case, this guy. His name is Charles Darwin. He was an English naturalist, and he set out on a voyage in the 1800s, and he went around different places around the world observing naturalist life, as in nature. One of the stops he did was in the Galapagos, which he's probably most famous for. And he also went around Africa, and I guess Madagascar, Australia, South Africa, South America. Oh, what that about? Well, after example 3, after a long voyage around the world, Darwin suggested evolution through natural selection to be the reason for Earth's variety and life. We're going to have another video on what natural selection is, but to wrap it up, Darwin said that things evolve to fit their environment, and through millions and millions of years of this, we see a different variety of life, organisms doing different things to survive. Well, one of the things he worked on the most were finches, and he studied them, drew them, took notes on them, and he noticed that finches like this big guy up here with the more robust beak were much better at cracking those harder to break seeds than, let's say, this guy down here with the smaller beak. And say this guy right down here with the pointier beak was much better at sticking his beak through smaller holes and acquiring food in such a manner that the big robust guy could not. Well, after all of this, he published his findings many years later in a book called On the Origin of Species. And this book was so controversial because back then it was God or nothing. And for somebody to come around and go, no, actually, things have been on this planet for millions and millions of years, constantly evolving. Man, that really shook a lot of foundations, and he was highly criticized. In fact, many artists took depicting him as a chimpanzee, and, well, didn't go over that well. But for the most part, it's now what we consider to be scientific fact through his, I guess, theorization of how organisms evolve over time. All right, now, since we have more on evolution to come, I'm not going to go into natural selection yet, but tonight's dubstep artist of the week, that's right, dubstep, is Night Party.